So the idea is to build an inbox agent for our SaaS product. So it handles all our inbound messages and decides what to do with them. So to get started, I installed the LangChain OpenAI package, I installed the LangChain Langgraph package and the LangChain core package. And in our .env file, I put my OpenAI API key. Next, let's define the types of messages that we want to get and think about how we want to respond to each type of message. So for this example, I put in feedback, support, spam, and other. Feedback, we check if it is positive or negative, and if it's positive, we just send it maybe in our Slack channel or collect it and show them on the next meeting and everybody feels great. And if it's negative feedback, we might want to notify our product manager about it. Next is support, and the goal here is to decide what kind of support is needed and prepare email for our support staff so they can quicker respond to the incidents. Then we have spam, we will just ignore it. And then other, if it not fits into one of these categories, we just send it straight to staff. And for the support message, we also define two different types. So it could be a bug. If it's a bug, we want to define the severity. So if it's high, medium, low. Want to create a ticket in our ticketing system like Jira or whatever, alert the staff and also draft a reply. And then also maybe based on how high this severity is, we maybe want to ping somebody directly or let's see. And then if it's a technical question, we want to do a RAG search into our help center, draft the email and also alert the staff. So they basically just have to check it and send it. Then we have our message type. This is just the message that we get, the email address and the message. If it's the feedback, we will try to get the user ID based on the email address. Then we just collect the message that was sent and then we say if it was positive or negative. And if it's a support message, then we also try to get the user ID. We decide which type it is. So if it's a bug or a technical question. And then we have like the description, severity. And if it's a technical question, we get the question from the original message. And then we try to draft an answer from the request that we made. Then we want to link the links to our help center. And then we also have a Boolean if we found an answer or not. So we can make decisions based on that. So the first thing is to actually create our state. We're going to call it graph annotation and use this annotation class that's imported from Langgraph. And we're going to have our message, that's the original message, the message type, and then we have the support and the feedback data here. Okay. Next, I'm going to define our state type and the update type. That's just for later, so our functions are a little bit more beautiful. Then we can create our workflow using the state graph, and we pass in the annotation for the state. And then finally, we can get the graph by running workflow.compile. And once the graph is compiled, we can call invoke and pass in the data that we want our state to be initialized with. So this is the basic setup. So let's start with actually building out our graph. To start building out our graph, let's add our first node and call it process message node. And then the node's going to take in an action, and that's going to be a function. So let's define it here. And this function is going to get in the state. It's going to be of type state, and it's going to return an update or a promise of an update if it's async. And then we have to make it async as well. So for example, we could return message type equals other. Then we put the function into the node, and now we would just update the message type. But obviously we want to make a decision here. So let's just leave it as this, build out the full graph, and then come back in later and make all the AI stuff happen. Let's add our next node, and let's start with our feedback node. I don't know, let's keep it like this. Process feedback and create our function here, feedback, and then here let's just return our feedback to be positive, user ID is 2, and the text will be the state message. Okay. Yeah, next handle the support case. So you already know the drill. Let's create the node function. And then let's say here we just make the decision if it's a bug or a technical question, and we try to get the user ID. So let's return our support type. Let's say just bug for now, and the rest will be added in the next function. So let's add it here, process support. Then let's add our node for process other. And in this one, we really don't want to return something. Let's put it in there. Okay, now let's add the node support bug. So here we also don't really return something. Let's just have it here to decide the severity, and then maybe say support is the state support, and we just add the bug here, get the description, severity high, add a new node for support technical question. Here we want to search the help center and then add our question, and the answer will be whatever we found. Links will be the links to the help center articles. So we have that. Something else missing? Yeah, we have to do the bug severity and then maybe process the feedback if it's true or false. So let's do that next. Okay, so add the nodes for severity low, medium, and high. Let's create the functions. In this case, we just want to create a new ticket, and then for medium, we maybe also just want to create the ticket. Or let's say for medium, we want to create a ticket and send something into the Slack channel. And when it's high, want to create the ticket and message to the staff that is on support duty. Okay, so let's add them here. And then let's also add finally the nodes for feedback. So if it's positive, let's say just send to Slack channel. Don't want to update the state. And here we want to notify the PM. And we're also not updating anything. Okay. Okay, let's add one final node, and that would be the email node. And here we want to draft the email and send it to the appropriate person. And that's going to be our last node. Okay, next, let's think about the edges. Let's add them here. So our first edge is from start to process message. And now let's add our conditional edge from process message. Let's create a new function, and that's going to take in the state, and it's going to return a string, and that string is going to be the name of the node. So we could even type it here, or it could even be end, because if it's spam, we're just going to end the graph right there. So let's make a switch statement on the state message type, and then if it's feedback, return process feedback. If it's support, process support. If it's other, process other. And then the default case, so if it's spam, just gonna return end. And we can edit here, process message edge. Let's call it edges. Okay, so from this node, we can go to one of these three. Next, we can add the next conditional edge, and that's gonna be from process feedback. So let's call this one process feedback edges. State's gonna be the state. And this time it's going to be async, and we want to return a promise of either support bug or support question. And also you don't have to be so strict with the typing, but I just prefer it because otherwise you might introduce some bugs that are annoying to debug. Here, because it's async, we could ask the LLM to further specify if it's a bug or support question, and then return whatever. Let's just return bug for now. This is the feedback edges and one. Okay, so now we can go from the feedback to the support and the question. Oh yeah, okay, that's wrong. obviously that needs to return either feedback negative or feedback positive. Okay, next, another conditional edges, this time from process support edges. Let's create the function process support edges, basically the same thing, only that this time support bug or support question. And let's just return the support bug, process the bug, the question, feedback with support. Okay, now last other, and here it's just gonna be a normal edge. If it process other, then we can end it afterwards. We don't need to go further. So we have other, we have bug question. Then we have to add more edges from our support bug, and this time we're gonna have bug severity low or medium or high, and let's just return high. Then we can add another edge from our draft email to end. Now we can add all the different leaf nodes that we still have to the draft email node. Add the edge from low, medium, high, feedback negative to draft email, and from feedback positive to draft email, and from support question. Yeah, I think that's the full workout. Let's organize everything a little bit and make a new file. Let's call it graph, and let's just copy this. Let's create a function. So export function create graph, and this is just gonna take all of that and return our graph. Let's also get all the types in there. Okay, import the annotation, and definitely have to export this one. And then let's make a new one, call it nodes. Just put all the nodes in there. Import this stuff, and then also export all of them. Well, this one as well, please. Let's maybe also make a new one and put all our edges in there. Import our state and export all of them. Let's get rid of all of that and call our graph create graph. Okay, now this one is a lot cleaner later for testing. Here we have to import all of these things. Maybe it makes more sense to group them by their functions, have all the feedback stuff in one, but let's just see where it goes. So we have all the edges, all the conditional edges, and we have our graph. So let's just run it without AI. Maybe add some console logs in here. And then since here the message type is other, we can just... So let's just run it and see what happens. So as we can see, we went to process message and then we went to process other. So if we were to change that, let's maybe go support. Then we go into the support, then it says bug. Then we go into bug, then we go here into support bug. So let's just log that out as well. And then we should go into the high severity. High severity, and then at the end, go here if everything works. So let's try again. Yes. So as we can see, we processed the message, we decided it's support, it's a bug, high severity, and then we draft the email. Okay. So I would say the graph is working. And next we have to add all our AI features to finish it up. First, we would have the process message. We can either use function calling or we can use structured output. Let's just use structured output, but it would be probably the same. So chat OpenAI, and maybe we want the temperature to be 0. And then we have to create a schema. So we have to install Zod to work with that. Install Zod. Okay. And let's import object. Let's maybe just call it type, and it's gonna be an enum. And let's add a little description. The result will be our structured LLM invoked. Should be okay. We can test it out afterwards. And then human, and the input's gonna be our state message. And then we're gonna get the result, and then our message type is gonna be our result.type. And then also another trick that we can do is that we actually add another one just to trick the AI to perform better. And we just ask it to give us back a reason why it chose it. And then we can console log it and say, okay, let's test that out. This one should be a bug, and Let's run it and see what happens. It selects the support, and then we go to support, bug, high severity. Perfect. Also one thing, let's give it a model. Let's make it GPT-4 mini, so just it's a little less expensive. Let's try again. Okay, yeah, still support, users experience indicating, yeah, perfect, great. And now we have to do that for all the rest of our nodes. Let's go for the next one. What we also could do is when we receive the message, we also get the email address. And let's say, like, based on the email address they're using, we want to find the company that they're working for. Let's simulate it. Function get user from email. So here we're just simulating, so we might know the user that sent the email, so we can try to match the domain to an existing user or a company that is with us, so we could retrieve further information. Okay, so let's do the process feedback. Next we have to do something very similar here. So let's use the structured LLM thing again, but we're going to change a couple things. We're going to say you're an expert sentiment analysis AI, you process feedback a company received and have to decide if it was positive or negative. You answer blah blah blah. And then here we're just gonna say is positive, and the text is gonna stay the same. I mean, we could get rid of it, but whatever. And just log it out. Next, let's do it for the next one. We can basically copy everything, and then the output will be so dot. Okay, here process other. So here we would hook into other third-party APIs, for example, like a Slack API or something. Let's just console log it. Next, if we have the bug, so we have to give it the severity. Process bug result, the description is gonna be response description, and severity is gonna severity. Let's just test it and see what happens. Let's see what the AI did. So it decided it was support. It's experiencing issues with the login. The support says it's a type of bug, and then it says the severity is high. It created here a description. I don't know if I like it, but okay. Yeah, it gives the reason why it's high, and then it went to high severity. Very, very nice. It's working as expected. Okay, let's go over the last couple of notes. So if it's a technical question, let's just simulate the response. Okay, and then we're gonna have our answer is gonna be answer found, and the links help center response map our links. You would have a vector database where you could make reg queries against, so this is like just simulating the reg query. We might come back and put like an article here. For now, let's just finish this one. Finally, we have to draft an email. Okay, yeah, so this, and we could get like more complicated. We could have like another AI like draft the things, but yeah, to be honest, the video is already pretty long, and I think by now you get the point. Let's go over to the edges and do that. This one is already done. Next, process feedback edges. Yeah, we can basically just say if the feedback is positive, feedback positive. Otherwise, we send feedback negative. And yeah, we already do the classification in the nodes, but we could also have the LLM decide stuff here based on the state. So yeah, it's up to you how you want to implement it. So on the state support bug severity, and if it's high, we're gonna return high. If it's medium, I'll return medium, and then it's just gonna do it as a default return low. So that's done. Okay, let's try. Okay, so we get the feedback. It's a feedback. Then positive is true. Send the email to the Slack channel, and we drafted the response email. Hey, the product design isn't so great. I have a hard time finding what I need. Let's try again. So it's not positive. We notified the PM and sent back the email with thank you for your feedback. We'll look into it ASAP. Okay, let's see what it says now. Oops. set its support, then it's a bug, then it's medium severity, created the new ticket, send notification to the developer channel and says, okay, our team is on it. Let's make one last test. What else do we have? Oh yeah, we have spam. So let's see if we just send like, and it's detected as spam, and it's other, and it gives me, yeah, send that to the support staff. Yeah, as you see, the inbox agent is ready. Yeah, there's a lot more we can do, but I think you get the general picture. You see what all is possible, how powerful these graph or these Langgraphs really are. If you have any question, just write them down there. I'm gonna answer them, and I'm gonna also publish the code on GitHub for you to play around with. Yeah, thank you for watching and see you next time.